Hey everybody, Mike Pfeiffer with Pfeiffer Hobby. Today we're going to do the ACT3 Update 22. And you'll see what I've had going on. And I hope you enjoy it. This has taken place over many days. But the result turned out, I love it. I hope you love it. But let's take a look at what it is. Okay everybody, here is the mountain end, and you can see that while I didn't document the coloring and painting of this, I did get a bunch of work done here. Right over there you can see where the plaster ends for right now until I keep going that way. Right up there I blended in there was some blue on the existing painted backdrop, so I carried that on over there between those mountains and over here between these mountains, and all I did was just mix up some paint of approximately the same color and touch that up there. The basic coloring of the area over here was about 3 parts black to maybe 5 parts. No, maybe, let's see. I think it was about 2 parts black to about 6 parts brown. Just a regular brown, cheap acrylic in the big bottle. Mixed the two together. Mixed about, I don't know, 70%, 80% water. Stirred it all up, and then I just started slopping it on there. The only thing I have noticed is that I got some on the backdrop up there, which I'll try and get off later, hopefully. What else? Once I got the brown color painted, if I missed any areas, I went back and touched them up with just the regular brown. Then I came back with a medium gray color with a slight bit of black in it and mixed it up kind of thick. Not too much water, but thinner than the paint itself, maybe 50-50 water and paint. And I came back and started painting in the rocks. And I'll zoom in on a couple of these. But I started painting in on the rocks and got all the way around with the gray paint, which really looked pretty blah until I came back and dry brushed all the faces with white. I'll zoom in on one that's right here close and tell you exactly how I did it. Okay, so this is, as you can see, this up towards the fascia here turned out really light brown. I started to run out of material, but it's okay because we're going to put ground cover over all this anyway. But this was a rock casting here, and you can see that I painted it with the gray-black mix, and then I carried that onto the plaster, so that when we put the ground cover on, it will look like the rock goes into the dirt. So, pardon me. That's kind of what I do. I mean, these up here are obviously not rock castings, but they are just the plaster itself, and above the tunnel portal and so forth. But when you paint them with the gray and you scan around the gray on the rocks, everything comes together. You can see that the rock formations are kind of poking through the dirt. And once we start putting the ground cover on, you won't even hardly notice the transition between the two. So really, that's about it. This is another one of those videos that's going to take a few days. I didn't bother posting anything or recording anything when I was doing the painting part. It was just going to slow the process down too much, and I was already in the mood. But let me swing around here, and you can see I'll have to cover the bridge back up before I get too crazy again. And unfortunately, when I threw it off, tossed it off, it got in the water, so it's soaking wet. So I will have to put a new piece over the bridge so that I don't drip stuff all over the bridge. If I go back here, you can see way back there that's behind the track back there. We're going to put ground cover on that first, and I'm going to try and let most of that dry. I may work my way out and do this front here. but just get that corner done back there so that I can start putting some trees on that and finish that corner up so I can get out of there. Once I do get out of there, then I'll come and I will finish behind the bridge back there, that low spot. I'll probably put a high spot in there. I'm not really exactly sure what I'm going to do there, but we'll see when I get there. So this will continue on in another day or so, and I hope you guys enjoyed what I did today. Okay, gang, I'm having to work pretty fast, so I'm gonna try and squeeze this in. I've worked my way around with ground cover. Of course, my bottles are in the way, but you get the concept. I have not done this hill, but what I wanted to show you is to keep the spray and things from going over the edge into my model area. I put some masking tape up along the edge there to try and contain some of it. And after I spray it, I'll let all that dry and then peel the tape off and clean up the edge. Any places I miss, I can come back and do later. I'm only going to do around the top right here, down to the beginning of the bridge. The lower level stuff where the bridge is and coming over to the turntable, I'm going to leave that for last. So anyway, you get an idea of what's happening here. Let me zoom in right here. Of course, the tape is all, the track is all taped up. I'll have to clean up a mess along there when I get done. But once I get done spraying and spreading the foam on, I go back with just a bottle of water and I spray off the rocks. And that blends in the terrain to the rocks. But you can see what a difference it makes to have some ground cover versus naked over here. But anyway, I'll come back and show you what I do right here as soon as I get done here in just a little bit. Let me back out and I'll be right back. Okay, everybody, I'm up here by the ceiling and you can see how everything kind of ties together. Still got the masking tape on the edge. Gotta wait till all this dries, tear it off, and then I think I'll be ready to start putting some trees in. Once I get the trees beyond that track and then get the track ballasted and painted in the areas that I can see, that back will be done back there. Okay, I also wanted to tell you guys, and I forgot, but I use a brand new Scenic sprayer to spray my glue mix, the Scenic cement, and I use the Scenic cement, but if you mix your own, you can do the same thing. But I use it in the mist mode, and I get very close to it. Let me do it on this paper. I get very close to it, like this is the hillside, and I just spray small areas at a time. And I work my way down with the glue, nice and wet, and then I go ahead and put my scenery on. Okay, whatever, and I usually start with an earth blend, or this particular case, I start with an earth blend, and then because I want a darker terrain up here, I used it's an earth colored fine turf in a mix over the top of the earth color. In the places that I wanted some bright grass, I used the burnt grass, because I find that the green grass is just a little too much, and I've got some of that on the lake down there, and I don't know, I got to figure out a way to tone it down some. But nevertheless, and then once I get done with that, I use a little bit of burnt grass. It's coarse turf, and that makes kind of the, when I put that on the top, that makes the kind of weedy look. You know, it gives you an impression of weeds being on there. But once I get that all done and it's sitting down and maybe all of it's not wet, I may go back and spray just water out of a Scenic sprayer over that from way away, from way back, you know, like so, way back, and just wet that area and let that, what I've thrown on top of that glue, soak up into the scenery material. Once that's wet, and if I have any spots where the Scenic material recedes, I just go back and put a little bit more in. And then when I get done, I go back and just lightly put glue over the top of all that. The only problem was, as I showed you, is when I'm on a slope like I have over here, you have to control the flow of that glue coming down, and you don't want to go too crazy. I had a real low spot. Let me show you right here. Hang on. I had a real low spot right here. I had to make sure I had this taped real good. And when all the glue ran down into that, it filled that up about 1/4 of an inch full of runoff glue and water. So what I did is I just took a paper towel, have a paper towel handy, and just go in there and dab that excess water and glue out of there so that you don't have it running down. And then you can see this towel down here. It was running out the bottom here, and I didn't want it all over the floor, so I was catching excess down here. But anyway, that's the thing you have to be concerned with, is just catching any excess when you're doing it on such a steep slope like I am here. But hopefully, for the most part, that'll be most of the slope back here where it's hard to reach, and I won't have to deal with that anymore. So anyway, as I said, the next step is putting trees on. I also will add, I am getting ready. In fact, I'll do it right now. You always want to take your Scenic sprayer that you put glue in and dump the glue back into your Scenic cement bottle. Okay? Every time you get done using it, and I mean every time. Okay, so now I've got back a full bottle because I emptied my other bottle that I had used into it. Now what I'm going to do is take this glue bottle here over to the deep sink, and I'm going to put as hot water as I can put in here, and I'm going to spray through the whole thing and really clean the thing off good. I'm going to run hot water down inside of here, you know, and you can't get inside the thing, but I'm going to rotate the sprayer, spray through both sides of the sprayer, clean it up as best you can, because if you don't, this sprayer won't work the next time you go to use it. So you've got to really make sure you clean this thing well. And for today, guys, that's about it. Okay, everybody. I tore the tape off all the track. Ballasting and weathering the track is going to be the last thing I do before I move forward on this side of the track. And you can see that I have a lot of trees put in along the fascia, and those are all within 2 inches of the fascia in the back. Now if I swing around here, there is the first mounted building on the layout. Structure, I should say. Let's zoom in. And you guys recognize it, it's my fire lookout tower. I dug it out of the box and got it up here. I will eventually add more trees on around, coming back towards us here. But I can get to those easily, so that will not be right now. What I'm intending on doing right now is vacuuming that track back there and getting the track ballasted down from that point right there around to the tunnel portal over there. Once I get that done, that upper level will be essentially done, with the exception of maybe some ground, not ground cover, but poly fiber when I get it to fill in some of the holes. But that'll be an easy reach and easy to do without making a mess. So I'm going to move on to the track today. Okay, everybody, I think I have the forest just about done in this corner. The only thing I need to do is put some deadfall in, and I have to go out to the desert to get some chamisa bushes and break up the branches for deadfall. Works real well. I just don't have any here. I'm going to swing you around, then I'm going to zoom in a little bit and swing you around again so you can take a closer look. You can see that I got the track ballasted back there. I decided that I'm not going to wash the mainline tracks with black. I'm just going to leave it the natural color of the Kato ballast. And now, for the first time, we're going to back up and we're going to watch a train run through the scenic area. Okay, everybody, we're going to watch a train run through the scenic area for the first time. Okay, everybody, here is the beginning of the Indian cliff dwelling. I think I need to level off the inside a little bit more. As you can see, I made the hole considerably smaller. And once I get the mountains tied onto each side, from over there, over to here, and from here down to here, you will see that it really isn't that large. And it fits in the spot. Also, I lowered it 2 inches. So it doesn't look nearly as big. I like it that size. I think it's going to stay that size. Now I've just got to work on the inside. Let me zoom in for you. So you can pretty much see that once I get that all tied in, I think it'll look good. We'll just see how it turns out. But anyway, I used that the piece of foam that I originally had blown a hole in with the torch, and I just smalled it up some by putting newspaper in it and then covering it with the plaster cloth and make it into the shape I want. Okay, everybody, I hope you enjoyed that update, and as usual, thanks for watching.